All right, well, good evening. I'd like to welcome everybody to this meeting of the Lakota Board of Education. Jenny, roll call, please.
Mrs. Casper? Here. Mrs. O'Connor? Here. Mr. Parnell?
Here.
Mrs. Schaefer? Here. Mr. Lovell?
Here. If we could all stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Second.
All right. Call, please.
Mrs. O'Connor?
Yes.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mrs. Casper?
Yes.
Mr. Parnell?
Yes.
Mr. Lovell?
Yes. Moves us on to our comment section. Just want to start out by welcoming our community. For those of you visiting via Zoom, we actually do have in-person participation today. This is our first session kind of back with limited capacity of 20. Thank you for coming. And so just so our community does know, though, as we move forward with this kind of hybrid type of meeting structure, we are still allowing for public comment via email, but those need to be submitted before 4 p.m. the day of the meeting. Then we will go to anybody that's in person to receive their comments, and then we will go to Zoom. And as per our public comment policy, all the other rules kind of apply for that. So that's all I have. Mr. Miller?
Just glad to welcome staff back today. It was nice to see people in the buildings that I attended, and I know it's not the same, but it was good to see faces. So at least eyes. It's good to see eyes. So
Good deal. Ms. Logan?
The only comment I have is, I know we talked about it prior to starting the meeting, but our last meeting with Zoom, we have upgraded our license with Zoom and now can manage 1,000 attendees if we should need it. So just to kind of let everybody know that.
Yeah, thank you for that. We do apologize to our community. I know that there were a lot of folks, and staff included, that got blocked out of that call, and that obviously was not our intention. We've just never had that many people wanting to engage in the Zoom, and so took care of that problem. And we also were able to post the link to that meeting. I think they had it posted within almost an hour of the meeting, and so we just appreciate everybody's patience with that, and we're prepared in case there are over 1,000 people out there tonight ready to engage. All right. This brings us to our first public comment section of the evening. Just remember, this is on agenda items only. It'll be 30 minutes, limited to 3 minutes for each speaker. Speakers need to state their name and their address. We do not have any emails. Do we have any participation from in-person comment? Seeing none. All right. Anybody on Zoom? Okay, we have hearing and seeing no public comment. We'll move on to board reports. We have 2 this evening. Butler Tech.
All right. Well, we had our Butler Tech meeting soon after, or actually the night after our last board meeting, so I forwarded you all the plan that was presented because I wanted to make sure to get that out with their reopening plan. Butler Tech is reopening in the hybrid model. Staff returned last Wednesday. The first day for students is tomorrow. Students will attend either on a Monday, Wednesday, or Tuesday, Thursday schedule, and then Friday this year will look different for every student depending on their need. So for some, it may be a work study, it may be an internship. If they have more academic needs, they may be coming in every Friday. So that will be individualized per student. So there's not a one-size-fits-all on the Friday offering. It's not like an every other Friday. It'll be specific per student. And again, I did forward out the more detailed plan for everybody. And so hopefully that'll be a good start for all the students tomorrow, and looking forward to welcoming all the kids back.
Great. So. Any questions? All right, legislative.
Jenny, do you want to kick us off?
Sure. So we did have an announcement on a new speaker, and the Speaker of the House is Bob Cupp. who I have a little bit of familiarity with. And as far as legislation, there is a House Bill 305, which our new speaker and Representative Patterson put together a work group on school funding, and that was introduced before we headed into all of this new era that we're in, and the speaker wants to reconvene our work group, and so we are having a conference call this week to discuss the future of House Bill 305. And
I feel like I should give a standing ovation right now.
right.
I'll refrain from doing that.
You know, I do think, you know, nobody likes what has,
Sure.
you know, the way that he has gotten to the speaker's appointment, but I'm very happy with the decision that was made and the person that is in that seat. I feel very confident in him. So, and I'm happy that it's also someone who is very concerned about the future of education and the funding piece as well. So, yeah, so we're happy and excited about that. The other thing too, and I know maybe Matt's going to mention this too, I know the whole liability issue for schools, we've been told that we should see something in September when they come back on that piece, but other than that, I don't have anything else. The other thing too, though, to mention is a lot of the things that we're working under right now sunset in December,
Yep.
the end of December. So I don't know that there's a date on the calendar that all of this is going to be over, but a lot of the legislation does have that date on it. So not sure if a lot of that's going to be extended, but that will be part of the conversation too.
And I think, didn't they just cancel some committee meetings for next week already? Like they kicked it back?
I have not heard that yet, but that would not be
I hope I'm wrong.
Yep.
The only thing I had, other two quick things I have to add. One would be, well, in addition to my two, would be, I'm glad to see Bob Cupp in that seat. That's really good for public education. The other thing I want to mention is later tonight I'll ask you for approval and recommendation for the remote learning plan. That's not something that we're shifting to. That's just a requirement from ODE that if we have to go remote, we have a plan in place. All it is it's a check off from them. It's not audited or anything. It's very simple. But all school districts are required to have that in place by August 21st. So I want to let you know that. That's part of House Bill 164, by the way. The other thing, I guess it falls under legislative, is I had a conference call last Saturday with Governor DeWine, Lieutenant Governor Husted, about school reopening plans. It was myself, 11 other superintendents. I think it's just the way it fell, but ironically, a third of the superintendents were going back, their school districts were going back in person, a third were going hybrid, and a third were going remote. So there's a heavy emphasis, and I think I emailed that to all of you, that at 2 o'clock tomorrow, he's supposed to talk more about going back to school or reopening plans. So I'm not anticipating anything different that's going to change us. I just think that's going to be the focus of his press conference tomorrow at 2. So I did want to mention that.
Thanks, Matt. Will that remote learning plan be available to the public to see? It'll be posted online.
Yeah, we can do that. It's really just a checklist and very simple.
I understand, but I think just to keep everyone informed and comfortable, it'd be good to post it.
Sure.
Thank you. Kelly?
Excuse me, I don't have anything.
I echo your feeling about Bob Cupp. I think that he's very grounded. There's a lot of common sense there, and I look forward to some possible movement. And again, as a reminder to our community, that work started because the current formula is a patchwork, many patches over the years, and it was felt that a clean slate instead of trying to add another patch would probably make more sense just to keep it a little more relevant and timely. So it'll be interesting to see what they come up with. I was going to also mention the DeWine press conference tomorrow. My understanding is that it's about helping families to understand how to keep their kids safe and those kind of things, as opposed to
weighing in on any mandates or requirements beyond what we already know.
Right.
I did want to let you all know there will be a change to the OSBA Fall Conference. It will be virtual, and it will be on October 14th. There's also a change to the OSBA Capital Conference, which we normally attend. Same time frame, but it will all be a virtual conference. That'll be November 8th through the 10th. Jimmy, as you said, going back to what's going to happen with some of the sunset bills, I think we can expect a very, very busy, from election day to the end of the year. I think it will be very fast-tracked. So we may need to plan some legislative visits for that. Southwest Executive Committee will be meeting on 8/29, and I will be there for that as well. That's all that I have. We have kind of a quiet legislative period right now.
Nothing going on.
So what will that 8/29 meeting be focused on?
It's the normal executive committee that meets quarterly. So it will focus on things like the conferences and other things going on in our area.
Is there going to be, have we heard anything about the fall meeting that we usually attend? I assume we're not doing that. That's the October 14th. It's
That's
virtual.
the October 14th.
That's the one that, okay.
I guess we could all meet here and attend it together. I don't know.
Who will feed us?
We're going to have to be adult and take care of ourselves.
As long as Roy's here.
That's right, as long as we get Roy.
All right. Any questions? Okay, moving on to administrative report. Mr. Miller?
Yep, just a few updates on our reopening plan. As I mentioned before, our staff came back today, so we're glad to see them. So we have 5 days with them before our students. Our students come back, as everybody knows, next week. Half capacity on Monday, Wednesday, the other half on Tuesday, Thursday. Using Friday, August 21st is a time for us to press pause and see where we're at with our safety protocols and any changes or things we need to do different for our kids. And that survey that we're going to base those decisions on will come out Wednesday of next week. So again, getting feedback, hoping that things go well, but being able to pivot if we need to make any changes, similar to what we did last March, I guess 5 months ago, when we had to go to remote learning. I also want to mention that our virtual learning option is at 3,600 students. We were actually a little bit higher than that, but we had some families at the last minute decide they did want to do in-person learning. So there's some changes going back the other way. I applaud the high school staff and the curriculum department for making those changes because it's been a whirlwind, and that obviously impacts traditional learning and the class list and things like that too. So we're still in a little bit of flux with that, but I think the extra 2 days that we pushed back help us get that done. Tonight, I believe, if it hasn't gone out already, we have taken our many pages of FAQs that have been on our website, on the We Are Prepared website, and we've fine-tuned those down to a shorter document entitled Safety Protocols and Guidelines. So those are for parents and for staff, and lay out all the procedures that we're doing. It's a little bit more streamlined than what we had in the system. I mean, it was all there already, but this is much easier to follow. And so I'd encourage everyone here and in the community watching to make sure you take a look for that. I did mention the conference call with the governor and lieutenant governor. The other thing I want to mention is they have concerns about what the late fall and winter is going to be like health-wise. But speaking with our health commissioner today on a Zoom, she was encouraged by the direction that Butler County and Southwest Ohio is going in. She stopped short of saying yellow, but this is the most optimistic I've seen her since I've had so much communication with her. So I think that was a good sign. And she said you can tell a direct correlation between when the governor mandated masks and when the numbers started going down. And so I don't think that's a coincidence, and she didn't either. But she was encouraged by the direction that the numbers were going in. So I think that's good. I think that's good for us. It was very positive. So be glad to take any questions that anybody has.
Matt, does the set of guidelines also include, I've gotten questions about what do we do if someone tests positive? Are we shutting down a classroom, just the family? Is that all included?
It's in there. Yep, it's all in there. and that really depends on the health commissioner's department and whether it's a high risk, medium risk, or low risk, and whether or not people are masked and what the exposures are. So it's really on a case by case basis, but it details on there what our steps are going to be as a school district and what parents have to do and what staff has to do.
I also have a question about the personnel items tonight, but I can wait until we're on that motion.
Okay.
We had gotten some questions about ventilation. Have we done anything with ventilation? Are we making changes with ventilation?
I wouldn't say we've made any changes, but I know that Chris and his team have been talking to the Butler County Health Department. There's a lot of different opinions on whether that impacts that, but I know that he's checked it out. I don't have anything specific that I can get you, but I can ask him and send that out to the board.
I just want to say thank you in the midst of all the moving numbers and everything like that, just being aware of the class sizes. And I know your team behind the scenes have been working diligently to ensure that our class sizes, especially at the younger grades, are staying at a reasonable number.
Yep.
And I know you've been communicating that on Facebook Live and such. And I just know from the complexity of kids going to VLO, kids coming back from VLO, the staffing around that, it's challenging. So thank you for just keeping an eye on that.
I'm trying to stay on it.
Matt, did we have a lot of families switch from in-person to VLO?
We did a while ago.
Did it go both ways?
It went both ways. I just think we're right now, for whatever reason, well, I know what the reason is. Some of it is because we can't provide some of the virtual classes. And so when kids were getting schedules or talking about scheduling and they couldn't get it, then they decided to flip back into traditional. So that's been an aha moment for us a little bit. I mean, we can't virtually provide everything that we do in person. And I think that's part of the reason, but that one surprised us a little bit. So
more coming back into traditional than going out to a VLO?
I mean, if you had to say what, no, I would say more still went in VLO. We were just surprised by how many came back traditional that had already set up in VLO. And it's a staffing issue too, and it's not all the same because of different grade levels and just different numbers from different buildings. So, I mean, I kind of said this before, we created a brand new school and it's now our largest school. So we have some growing pains through that, but I mean, I think we're handling it as well as we can right now.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
I appreciate the team working on their trying to accommodate everyone and making sure everyone's needs are met in that flux. So
Yep.
thank you for doing
Sure.
that.
Absolutely. Thanks. Team's done a great job.
All right, moving on to new business. Do we have any new business?
This, again, seems in the midst of everything else probably very minor, but I know election season's coming up in November, and with everything else going on, it seems a long way away. But we have a policy that there are no campaign signs on any of our property, but it seems in the last few elections, we always get a few signs that are put in front of the schools, and then it's always a question of if they're on school property, they're also not supposed to be in the median or the common property either. And I always feel a little uncomfortable that it looks like we're endorsing certain candidates, and I don't know if there's anything we can do before it's any candidate sign that goes up there, so it doesn't look like we're picking sides. So I wanted to say something before it's any particular candidate, and that's why I'm saying something right now when it seems too early, because I don't want it to look like I'm signaling out any particular person. That if there's anything we can do to perhaps work with the township to say we can keep them off of school property and the space between school property and the roads.
Yep.
So it doesn't look like the schools are supporting one candidate over another candidate.
Yeah, we can do that. I'll ask Chris and his team to talk to the townships about that, and I'll get a legal opinion too, just so we all have it again.
Might be a press release.
Might be.
Yeah.
So,
Way to
good
inform
idea.
the candidates.
Yeah, just again, before it's any person, so it doesn't look like it's one person over another.
When can they put signs out, do you know?
Next week.
Oh,
There you go.
Oh,
It will be very soon. I was being facetious, but it will be
I was going to say it will be sooner than we think.
so I know that there's too much other stuff going on, but I don't want it to be after somebody goes up and it looks like we're targeting a person.
Thank you.
So, sorry.
No, you're fine. Thank you. Is there any other new business?
Can I go back to something that was asked just
Sure.
a second ago? I just got Mr. Passarge cleaned up the ventilation question. He says the Biz Ops team has been researching and exploring ways to help improve the safety of our classrooms in terms of air quality for COVID. Our HVAC equipment is not designed to use HEPA filters, and use of them would cause failure in the systems. We are considering other filters with higher MERV ratings that can capture smaller particles. We want to ensure the investment in these filters will actually help the environment without causing our systems to fail. We're also looking to increase air exchange rates to help improve air quality in clean rooms. This is a fine balance between fresh air and possible comfort issues. As more outside air you bring in, the more difficult it is to condition the air and keep lower humidity rates inside the classrooms. We will definitely have to err on the side of safety and less towards comfort in some cases, especially if the outside air being brought into the building is extremely humid.
Sense.
So that's where we're at.
Thank you.
Same thing I said.
All right,
Thanks, Chris.
moving on to treasurer's recommendations. We have 2 items, approval of the board minutes and approval of the monthly board reports. Do I have a motion?
I'll move.
I'll second.
All right, discussion? Hearing none. Ms. Logan?
Mrs. Casper?
Yes.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Connor?
Yes.
Mr. Parnell?
Yes.
Mr. Lovell?
Yes.
Thank you.
Next up is superintendent's recommendations. We have 3 items, approved of personnel items, remote learning plan, and approved donations. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, discussion?
So Matt, we have our supplementals. Many of them are for the year. Some of them are for the fall.
Mhm.
And my question is, and I do not have an objection to paying for those. What I am concerned about is, should we get shut down? Should we end up having to move to remote through a governor's mandate or something along
Yep.
those lines? Is there still some opportunity our students are getting to interact with their coaches? Are they doing anything at all if they're involved in the clubs or athletics that our students will benefit from
You mean during the shutdown or now?
during a shutdown?
Yeah,
No, I would expect it to be pretty
Right.
typical now.
right now, yeah, we're pretty typical right now, even though there's a lot of chatter about what's going to happen with that moving forward, and that's why they're on here. But I think if we do have a shutdown, there'll be an opportunity for some sort of connection still with those kids, I hope, following probably in this case OHSAA guidelines or some other activities. But like in the spring, we'll have to see if it's half a season or something like that, we might have to make some financial adjustments or work with, LEA on that. But we're just not there yet. But hopefully there's still some sort of connection with our kids and our students moving forward.
Even if it's remote, I
Something.
just think that's important to maintain those connections and those relationships so that there's some benefit for this investment we're making.
Right. And I would say too, to that point, on the call last week, they made it very clear that, kids of a certain age, if they're not engaged in activities that are being monitored by adults or school people, sometimes left to their own devices, sometimes we don't make great choices. And that's another reason that kids should be involved in certain things. And so to your point, I think if we can maintain that connection in some capacity, that'll help.
I was trying to say that without coming out and saying that. You said it very tactfully.
Just
But
a
yes,
couple.
I do think
That would have been me. I mean,
we need to offer
Yeah.
what we can.
right.
Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Logan?
Mrs. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mrs. Casper?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Connor?
Yes.
Mr. Parnell?
Yes.
Mr. Lovell?
Yes. This brings us to our second public comment section of the evening. This is for open public comment, 30 minutes, 3 minutes for each allotted speaker. Reminder to state your name and your address. And no in-person comment. Do we have anybody on Zoom? Okay, seeing no public comment, we'll move to closing comments. Mr. Parnell?
Well, I just want to welcome everybody back, those going virtual and those in person. We begin another year, and I hope it's better than the way the last one finished. That's all I have.
Agreed. Ms. Schaefer?
Just thank you for all the staff coming back today and all the hard work that I know that happened over the summer in preparing all of the buildings, all of the plans, all of all of the work that has gone into making this a great return for our students next week. So I know it's going to be, there's a lot of anxiety that goes in, and it's only because everyone cares so much. And I know that everyone cares because they care so much about our students and making it a great experience for everybody to come back. So thank you for everything everyone has poured in, and to our administrators for leading that charge. So I look forward to a great year.
Thank you. Ms. O'Connor?
Welcome back to our students. I can't wait to look at some of the social media posts when that happens and seeing the smiles on their faces being back. Welcome back to our staff and our teachers. And I echo the thank yous. I know this has not been an easy situation. I think we have to throw out the term new normal, just completely get rid of it, because we just need to think of it as new and never normal. And I've noticed some positive staff comments on social media, and I took those to heart and really appreciated the positive. Can't wait to see my kids. So that was kind of neat to see, and really appreciate the attitude that everyone's taking.
Thank you. Ms. Casper?
I'd just like to echo and ditto what my colleagues have said, because they've said it all. And I wanted to say how exciting it was to see the solar panels go up on East, the solar array. And Betsy, nice job on the photos, climbing the roof. Good job. So it was nice to finally see that come to fruition after all the hard work of the NHS there.
Ms. Logan?
Like everyone else said, welcome back. And yes, there has been a lot of work that has been done, but it's going to continue because we're just starting. I mean, so I hope everybody is fresh and ready to go. But welcome back.
Mr. Miller?
Yep, excited that our staff came today. I know I said that before, but it was good to see a lot of them, and I hope to see more of them as the days progress, and really looking forward to having our kids, or most of our kids, back next week.
Wonderful. I have nothing to add to all those wonderful comments. It's great to see everybody starting back and getting some momentum into this year. And to Jenny's point, the work is just beginning, but I have complete confidence in our team and our staff here and our families. This brings us to our adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I have a second. Second? Okay, Ms. Logan?
Mrs. O'Connor?
Yes.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mrs. Casper?
Yes.
Mr. Parnell?
Yes.
Mr. Lovell?
Yes.